Welcome back. I am doing a tutorial using the Sweet Peach palette from Too Faced. This video is dedicated to my friend Rachel. I have a basket here of all the things that I have recommended to her and that she has. So this is to her and really to anyone who has these products, just to kind of show you how to use them. And a lot of them are basic products that you might not have that certain brand, or you can still use this tutorial to kind of help you with your daily makeup routine. So I've already primed my face. I have really dry skin, so once I get out of the shower I have to put on something, and a lot of times moisturizer will mess with my foundation, so I try to just prime my face first thing in the morning. So I use the Hard Candy Sheer Envy Hydra Prime Primer Lotion. I used to use the e.l.f. primer. I like this one a little bit more. I also think it's cheaper for the amount you get. You get 1.3 ounces, and in the e.l.f. primers, I don't have one handy, but it's about, I think, 0.4, 0.5 ounces. So you get more than twice the product with the Hard Candy Sheer Envy Primer. Alright, so the first thing, I'm going to use my e.l.f. Flawless Finish Foundation. This is in the color Porcelain. I put about a pump and a half on the back of my hand, and then I'll take my damp Real Technique sponge, dip it into the product, and put it over my face. I just kind of dab. I don't really rub it through, I just dab it. They just recently came out with a larger shade range with the e.l.f. Flawless Finish. They used to only have 4 shades, which I didn't mind just because I have a hard time matching my foundation to my skin. So with only 4 shades, you can't really go wrong. But I know a lot of people couldn't wear it because of the limited shade selection. Goodness. So I am glad that they finally came out with more, because it's a very good foundation. This one and the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow and Pro Matte, those are my top foundations. Alright, so that's blended in. I'm going to go in with my, where is it? My e.l.f. concealer. It's in the shade Fair. And this is not a brightening concealer, but it is a good coverage. If you've got a lot of dark circles under your eyes, this is a good one. I don't have very dark circles under my eyes usually, so I will sometimes skip this step. I do have some redness around my nose, and I'll go under there, and then I have a little bit of acne on my chin. It's gotten a lot better, so I might just dab it a little bit there. So, just recently bought the smaller Real Technique sponge. I know in my very first video I said, what's the point? Well, I caved, and I went ahead and bought a pack of 4, and I really like them because for the concealer stuff, it's really easy to get around the under eye and around the nose where I put concealer on. I also use it to kind of blend and spread out my eyeshadow primer. Rachel told me that she bought the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser for dark circles, but she didn't know how to use it. And honestly, this product gets a lot of hype on YouTube, and I don't dislike it. I just don't think I know how to use it very well myself. So I told her what she can do. She can put it on top of the coverage concealer. This is supposed to erase dark circles, but to be fair, I don't think it really does. But it might be more of user error rather than product. So I'm just going to put it in that triangular shape under my under eyes. I'm going to go back with that small sponge and just dab. Alright, I have all the liquid products on my face that I'm going to use today, so now I'm going to set my face. I'm using the e.l.f. finishing powder in the Beautifully Bare line. This is in the shade Fair Light. I'm first going to go in with another of those small Real Techniques sponges that came in that 4-pack. I'm just kind of getting some product on my sponge. And this is going to go under my under eye. The goal is to prevent unnecessary creasing on that under eye. I might have put too much product because it's looking kind of cakey down there, but we'll give it a shot. And I just like to put heavy powder on the places that I use concealer. So I'll put it around my nose and around my chin. And these are also places that will get a little bit oily at the end of the day. And also in just my T-zone. Now that it's in, I'm going to use my e.l.f. Kabuki brush. I'm just going to swirl it into the product. And just go all over my face and make sure that I blend where I put it down with the sponge. Alright, so the base of my face is on. I kind of imagine the face like a canvas, and so this is my blank canvas. Next I'm going to go in with the Milani eyeshadow primer. This is my favorite eyeshadow primer. Put just a little bit on my finger. Tap them together. And then put it all over the lid and up to the brow. And then what I've started doing with the damp mini sponge is I just kind of blend it out and make sure that it doesn't set in any lines and creases. The next thing I am going to do is I'm going to take my e.l.f. brow pencil. It's got a spoolie brush on one end, and then it's got the brow product on the other end. I'm going to fill in my brows. It's not very creamy, which is good for your brows because it stays put once it's applied, but I will say there's a little bit of a learning curve to it. The brow pencil, it stays where you put it. It's just getting it even I've had a problem with, I guess, but I've had it for a week and I feel pretty comfortable with it now. So I just start at the front and I kind of do short strokes where I need it filled in. This is going to take me a little while. And then once I get closer to the edge, I do not have thin brows for the most part. They're pretty bushy, especially when they're not plucked. But I do longer strokes near the end of my brow, but those short little wispy hairs up front, I do short because it's a lot thinner there and you can see where I filled it in a little bit more. So I try to make it look as natural as possible. Alright, so that's good enough. It's probably not perfect, but it works. So if you don't get it right the first time, just keep practicing. And I always keep Q-tips on my vanity to clean up those edges sometimes. So then I'll just take the spoolie in and just kind of comb through my brow. And I also feel like when you comb after you apply the product, it kind of evens out that product in places. And the next step I would not say is necessary, but because I have bushy eyebrows and they're very long hairs, I use the Maybelline Brow Dance Brow Mascara. And I'll just keep my brow hairs in place. The next product I'm going to use is the e.l.f. Total Face Palette. I'm trying not to blind you. e.l.f. has a lot of good face palettes, and this might be one of my favorite because I like this line of e.l.f. because they're aiming for the more natural look. You've got 2 blush shades, a contour bronzer shade, and a highlight shade. I'm going to go in with the bronzer shade. I'm using the e.l.f. It's the Beautifully Bare Line like fluffy fan brush. And I'm going to bronzer my face, which is basically putting bronzer in like your contour areas just very lightly. You're not going for a very chiseled look, which I never go for a chiseled look because I don't know how to do it very well and I don't want to look too cray cray. I'm gonna take it underneath my cheek, in the hollows of my cheek, and then down below my jaw. As I've said in other videos, gotta hide that mom double chin I got going on now. And then back in with that shade and just kind of around my hairline, on the temples, and just along the hairline really. Temples and along the hairline there. And you can put it on the side of your nose with a smaller brush, but I'm not going to. Next, I'm taking my e.l.f. blush brush, and I'm going to go in with the darker of the two blush shades. And I kind of have to dig in. And it's going to go, that mirror is dirty, so I'm going to use this one, which is still dirty, but not as dirty. Just going to go on my cheeks, right above where I contoured. Going back into the blush and doing on the other side. And I feel like I kind of need to blend a little bit, so I'm going to go back with the fluffy fan brush without dipping into more product and just kind of go back over where I put the bronzing shade. Alright, and then for the highlight, I'm just going to use the e.l.f. small tapered brush. Going to go into that highlight shade. Put it right above where I put the blush. On both sides. And then just a little bit on the tip of my nose. Nothing crazy. So there's that. So that's just my plain old face part. Now I'm going to go in with the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. I'm just going to do a very normal look today, something that I would do quite often when I'm wearing this palette, because this is dedicated to my friend Rachel, who, by the way, got me this awesome shirt. I don't know if you can read it, but it says, "Yes, I'm a mom, but I still party, party, party." And when I say party, I mean take naps, because she knows me very well. So anyways, I'm just going to do a very basic look with this because this is for her, and I know that she probably doesn't want anything too crazy. Later, I might try filming the palette series where I use one palette for 5 different looks. Going in with a fluffy crease brush, I'm going to go into the shade Georgia. It's a matte, just light pink, peachy pink shade. And just going to go in the crease. Since it's your transition, it doesn't have to be super neat. For my highlight, I'm going to use the white peach in the top left corner of my palette. I'm going to place that under the brow and in the inner corner. And then for the highlight, I just used the eye defining brush from e.l.f. It's in the professional line. And even though it says professional doesn't mean that it's expensive. It might have been $2 instead of $1. Alright, next I'm going to take just my e.l.f. professional eyeshadow brush. And I'm going to go into the shade Nectar. I really like using light satin shades for my lid. I could have also used Luscious, but I did the Nectar this time. This palette is just like the chocolate bar palettes in that it is easy to blend. I am going to go back and blend in the crease without picking up more product, but honestly I could have skipped this step because it blends very easily on its own. Alright, so there's that. just going to take this fluffy eye defining brush from Bare Minerals, and I'm going to go into the shade Candy Peach. This is a very peachy look. And it's going to go in the outer V. Of course my camera stopped recording. It drives me crazy. I need to figure out a solution. But anyways, alright, so what I'm doing is I'm taking that nectar under my lower lash line. I'm mirroring what's up above. Alright, now I'm taking the Candy Peach and I'm putting in the outer third of my lower lash line. Alright, and since I deepened out my outer corner with Caramelize, I'm going to take a little bit of Caramelize and I'm just putting it on the very outer part. Not a whole lot. Because again, I'm just deepening it up just a little bit, adding a little bit more depth. Alright, so there's the eyeshadow look. I am going to curl my lashes. I've curled my lashes. Now I'm going to use my Maybelline Lash Sensational. Rachel said she did not like this mascara. She was thinking it was because of the wand shape. I will say that that is probably one thing that's hard to get used to. It's curved and you've got shorter bristles underneath the curve and longer on top, and it just kind of tapers around like that. I did suggest for her to curl her lashes first to see if that helps. Also, I used the side of the wand, so I'm not using underneath the arch and I'm not using on top of the arch. I'm doing the side of the arch. Reminds me of St. Louis Arch. Anyways, to initially put on mascara. And I always do my top lashes first because you don't want an excess of product on your lower lash line. It'll create too much shadow. So I'm still using the side of my arch. On the outer part, sometimes I'll go closer to the bottom of the arch. And I just kind of play with it. Whatever works best for you, whatever you feel is best. And then for the bottom, I'll use more of the top part just because I don't want to get a whole lot of product. And then for the inner part, I'll do the bottom of the arch just because of my eye shape. So again, just kind of play with it and figure out what works best for you. So using the top of the arch for the outer part, and then the bottom of the arch for the inner part, and the side of the arch for the top. So a lot of times after I coat my lashes with one coat, goodness, I'll go back into the product, wipe off the little bit of excess that comes off on the tip, and I'll give my top lashes one more coat. I try not to do it too much because then I'll get some clumping. Alright, so there is that. And then for this look today, I pulled a few lips. I've got the e.l.f. Beautifully Bare little satin lipstick and touch of blush. I'm not going to use this one because it's a red lip and I've got a very peachy eye. I'm going to put that back. And so I've got left the Revlon HD color lipsticks. One is an HD Desert and the other is HD Sand. They're very similar. I think I'm going to go with the lighter one. I think it's the HD Sand. But really you can use whatever you would like. Lips have been like my latest obsession. And so I got a lot of lipstick. Excuse me. There's the finished look. I hope you like it. subscribe and like my video at the bottom and come back for more. Thank you for watching.